Hello everybody. Welcome to the finals, the championship finals, the playoffs of the Robot Rampage League's first season. How is everybody doing today? Hello, hello. I don't see my chat popping up here. Where's my chat box at? See that metal Bantu shirt? Yes, last week I was supporting Pink Chaos in their efforts to get a good seeding. They ended up a number 2 seed, and now I'm supporting Heavy Metal for the championship. Let me get my webcam sorted. There we go. So, welcome to the playoffs. We have a couple things to go over from last week. As always, this was the results from last week. This finalized our playoff spots. The really interesting one in particular was for Sinister Creations. Top right, yes. Sinister Creations had a massive win over HIVE Academy and tied them in number of points with Team Smash, who used to be number 1 in the league at some point, I think, way back in the beginning of the season. But Sinister Creations had one more fight win than Team Smash, and so they got the tiebreaker and got into the playoffs. Really cool result from last week. There were 2 judges' decisions. They were pretty obvious decisions. And this was our final standings for the regular season. The top 4 are seeded into the playoffs from each division. You can see Sinister and Team Smash, they're 4th and 5th, tied on points, but Sinister had more fight wins. Really crazy clutch win from Rabid Fox got Sinister Creations into the playoffs. And that takes us to our format for the playoffs. It is stepladder format, which means the 3rd and 4th seeds in both divisions fight, and the winner of that fights the 2nd seed, the winner of that fights the 1st seed, and then the winners of each division fight for the overall grand championship. Thanks to, I think it's KJ in our Discord server made this graphic for me because I totally forgot that I needed a graphic for this. And they put this together for me last minute, which was great. Before we get into the fighting, I want to ask what your predictions are. Who do you think is going to win the Robot Rampage League? I'm going to go through some notes that I have here while you guys are letting me know your predictions. Let's see. So, we have figured out what we're going to do if there are ties in any of the, if there are draws in any of the matches. In the regular season, it's not a big deal. In the playoffs, we need to know a winner. We're going to break draws with total damage points scored in the fight, because running extra fights would bias it either towards that particular type matchup in the weight class that we use, or we would just be rerunning the entire match, which would make the first one pointless. So we're keeping it simple, just most damage points breaks a tie if there's a tie. There's a good chance there might be a tie because the Orlando Commandos have had 7 draws this season. 2 of those were against, or 3 of those, excuse me. 3 of those draws were against teams in Division 1. So if Orlando makes the championship final, there's a chance that they might draw again. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. And my only other note that I got here before we get into stuff is that Meta is the only team in the playoffs here that has not had any draws. Meta either wins or loses, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. What do we have here in the chat for predictions? Heavy Metal, Indiana, Pink Chaos, Sinister. Sinister's got a long way to go. They're down at the 4th seed. Lots of Heavy Metal predictions. Yeah, let's see some Heavy Metal win. That would be cool. All right. I believe it is time to get some robot fighting started. And this one's going to be interesting. We're only going to have 7 matches this week instead of the usual 9. And I only know what the first 2 of those are because we don't have winners decided yet. So, let's get into this with our first match in Division 1. Hive Academy against the Indiana Robotics Alliance. Physics to win. You're not wrong. Burnout, is math competing in this playoffs? I forget. I assume math is competing. So, our first playoff fight is between Jinx and X Factor in the lightweights. Jinx, the side hinge flipper, and X Factor, the low slung horizontal spinner. What do you predict for this first fight? It is worth noting that it is all the same rules in terms of points. It's 3 points for a knockout, 2 points for a TKO or a ring out, and 1 point for a judge's decision. And we do have judges watching to do live judges scores this week. Lots of X Factor predictions. Let's see if Jinx can prove the chat wrong. So we get the first of the playoff fights underway. Oh, Jinx flipped X Factor over immediately, and now that weapon is hitting on the other side of Jinx. It is doing some damage. Jinx not able to get fully under X Factor, is able to get it up in the air and is getting some hits on that extender for the weapon. It is locked up X Factor completely now and has X Factor pinned against the wall. So Jinx actually flipping X Factor over and taking control of this fight, and may or may not be able to make use of that weapon. X Factor manages to get off of the wall and takes a big shot to the weapon motor and the chassis as Jinx starts tossing it around. X Factor just bouncing around all over the place here, but able to get to Jinx's side once again with that damaged weapon. And look at the damage that Jinx is taking now. Smoke coming out of both of these robots, but Jinx is going to get KO'd. That is 3 points in a 56-second fight. That was a good fight from both robots. Jinx definitely had X Factor on the rope for a while there. Thought Jinx was going to pull it off. I know, if Jinx got that weapon into the extender, it could have been a totally different fight. So, Indiana leads 3-0 heading into the middleweights, where we have Gizmo, an aggressive four-wheel drive invertible rammer, against the Iron Curtain, a wall of defensive steel plates with a piston stabbing spike. In their previous matchup, Gizmo rammed into the Iron Curtain so hard it knocked itself out of the arena. So, can Gizmo come back and actually redeem itself in this one? What does the chat predict? First blood to Indiana, yes. Lots of the chat going for Gizmo in this one. Let's see. Gizmo's fate is in its own hands here. Gizmo with a big charge right off of the bat and gets itself between the Iron Curtain and the wall and is now kind of stuck with its rear wheels up in the air. Iron Curtain stabbing away and knocking some of those spikes off. And now stabbing at Gizmo's wheels as Gizmo's trying to steer itself around, but it did knock the spike off of the Iron Curtain's weapon, so now the Iron Curtain has no damaging components on its weapons as it gets pushed into the grinder twice. Look at that. Control board hits already. Gizmo slammed it into the grinder, and Iron Curtain struggling to move now. Gizmo has lost quite a number of its spikes. I think about half of its spikes, but the Iron Curtain's barely moving. Gizmo struggling with oversteer at the moment. And it's not yet fully through that defensive wall of steel plates. Gizmo a little bit too sensitive on the steering. More spikes come off. It pushes the Iron Curtain back into the wall again, and it's got the piston up against the wall. So Iron Curtain is stranded at the moment. Is Gizmo going to leave it for a TKO or go for the KO? Gizmo's going to wait for a TKO and take 2 points. Oh, the Iron Curtain, I think, is actually stranded on a spike that's broken off. There's 135 left, and Gizmo takes the 2-point TKO. Seconds. So, Gizmo settling for just 2 points. Hive is still down 3-2, but that might be a good choice from Gizmo, because in their previous fight, Gizmo threw itself out of the ring trying too hard. So, maybe it's best to take the guaranteed points rather than risk a loss. And then it will be the heavyweights. I see a super chat has popped up. It's from Midnight McLeod. Yay, fight, fight, fight. Yes! Let's get some BattleBots fight chants going for this this next fight here between Mammoth and Second Amendment. Mammoth with 4 Warpick-style axes, 2 overhead axes, 2 side axes. Not invertible. Second Amendment is invertible. It's a 4-wheel drive rammer. Its spikes are angled slightly down a little bit as a wedge. What do we predict for Mammoth versus Second Amendment? Hive won their regular season matchup with Indiana. They could still do it here. Indiana could come back and win it. We don't know. Chat is split between Second Amendment and Mammoth. This match could be the decider, says Steve O. That is correct. Because if Second Amendment gets a KO, that's match over. 6 points cannot be beaten by Hive at that point. So let's see what happens. And there's Second Amendment coming charging in, and Mammoth not getting any significant damage onto Second Amendment, just hitting its spikes at the moment. There's a big hit onto Second Amendment, who's pushed Mammoth onto the grinder. And now going to damage its own wheels against the grinder, I think. Mammoth doing a lot of chassis damage to the Second Amendment here. And it's just going to leave itself exposed to be pushed from behind. But Second Amendment not able to get Mammoth to... Whoa, Second Amendment just ran into the floor, I think. Now Mammoth going to pound away as it gets pushed into the grinder once again. It does have defensive plates on the rear for protection. There's some of Second Amendment's spikes breaking off, as well as an armor plate. That's a control board hit on the Second Amendment, and a knockout once again in 56 seconds. And so Hive is now up 5-3, and that means that this super heavyweight fight is a must-win for Indiana. That is a super chat from Mick Nakladak. 20 check monies. I think that's check monies. Happy birthday, Mike. Oh, thank you. My birthday was a couple of weeks ago, but I appreciate it. I will be sure to spend that money on lots of Mountain Dew, probably. That's usually what I spend birthday money on. But I very much appreciate the super chats. Thank you. Not looking good for Indiana. I mean, they're down 5-3 at the moment, and they have Black Widow in the super heavyweight. So, Hive has Hive, a double-length piston pneumatic spike robot. Not invertible. Black Widow is on Indiana Robotics line. It has a vertical spinner and a drill with a lot of side features to protect it. It's also not invertible. I don't think invertibility is going to matter here. But we have pneumatic spike against a drill. What are your predictions? Black Widow needs a knockout in order to win this for Indiana. And if they tie, currently Hive is leading on damage points if Black Widow gets a TKO. So Indiana absolutely has to get a knockout here. CCK stands for Czech Karuna. Gotcha. I did not know what check money was called. Now I know it's called Karuna. Thank you. I am learning things today. Most of the chat is going with Hive, so let's see how it goes. Hive just kind of needs to cruise in this one and just avoid being knocked out. Or it can go straight after Black Widow and get beside the weapon and into Black Widow's chassis. Or go right through the weapon. Black Widow now... It's broken a couple spikes off of Hive, but is taking damage from that grinder it's been pushed into. Oh, and it used its side features, its defensive spikes, to break more weapons off of Hive, and there's the last of Hive's spikes gone. So now all Hive has is defensive ram plates and a couple of defensive spikes. Black Widow is down to just 2 spikes remaining on its drill. And 1 spike remaining on its drill. Nothing remaining on the drill. Okay, so this is a pushing match. And keep in mind that Black Widow needs a knockout to win this. So going to the judges will not win Indiana the match. Oh my goodness, hold on. They just ran into the wall and both of them nearly flipped over. Oh, but Black Widow's backed into the grinder and lost a wheel. And Hive is going to get the knockout in 1 minute and 6 seconds. So that early grinder damage definitely helped Hive out here. And so Hive Academy moves on to fight Pink Chaos in the next round. One match done, and holy hell has the drama been high. Absolutely, because this is the real deal. If you don't win here, you're out of the playoffs. So we move to Division 2 for our first matchup between the C team and Sinister Creations. Indiana had a good season. Indiana did have a pretty good season. Kind of mediocre, middle of the road overall in the league, but they had a lucky time being in Division 1 and they were able to get a playoff spot. I mean, playoffs are not a bad season. So, in Division 2, we have the C team with Brickface in the lightweights. Sit and spin Thwackbot with an angled thwacker, a little bit like T-Rex from classic BattleBots. Sinister Creations has Overheat, the front-hinged flipper. Brickface is invertible, but it gets unstable. So, predictions for Brickface versus Overheat. Sinister did just claw their way into the playoffs, and they had been... I think they were in first overall at some point before they got knocked down to 5th, and they just stayed there for most of the season, most of the rest of the season. Ooh, before we get into this, I see a super chat just popped up from Tamabris, 20 pounds. Got tea from Oven, oinker pies, ham, sausage, and cider with chips. That sounds delicious. You're making me hungry, man. Love these streams and your videos, Psycho. Thank you for entertaining on Saturday nights. Absolutely, man. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make people have a good time and give us some robot combat to look forward to every week. Chat is split. I think chat is split here. So let's see how this one turns out. Brickface stays balanced, or if Overheat is able to knock that weapon. Oh my goodness! It lost a wheel immediately to Brickface. That might have been the first hit of the match. Yeah. Wow. So now Overheat is just going in circles, which Brickface is showing it how it's really done. Can Overheat even break a TKO count? This could be a very fast win here for Brickface. No, Overheat breaks the count, and Brickface is going to land a hit to it. Once again, Brickface going vertical with that instability that it has. Overheat getting counted out, I think. This is actually kind of dangerous for Brickface because they might suffer from the sit and spin AI problem if Overheat doesn't move much. It looks like Overheat's getting counted again. And once again breaks it. So Overheat, ooh, it knocked, Brickface knocked Overheat right over with that attack. I think Brickface is trying to get Overheat to spin that last remaining wheel into their thwacker so they can take it off. But Brickface has got to be careful it doesn't throw itself over the wall. It's done that before. It did that last week against El Gringo. Not sure who was getting counted there. Somebody was getting counted. We are 90 seconds in, and this doesn't look like it's going to change much. Ironically, Brickface is unstable enough that it can break a sit and spin TKO count. Overheat has broken a count again. And has kind of meandered its way over by one of the grinders. Brickface just not quite able to get that wheel. Ooh, got a decent thwack on the side of Overheat there. And Overheat now getting counted again. "40 seconds remaining. This might go to a judge's decision. And if it does, that will only be a single point to the winner, which would be disastrous for a playoff match. Brickface just not able to get the hit that it needs to end the fight. And 10 seconds to go. Brickface jumping over the top of Overheat now, just doing everything that it can to try to KO it, but it is going to go to the judges as Brickface gets itself stuck on the wall. Okay, judges, get your scores together and send them to Burnout, and he will send me your scores. And we will figure out who won this one. I think it's pretty clear who won it, but we do technically need the scores. So we will move on to the middleweights while the judges deal with that. $25-0 for Brickface. Don't need to PM you. You're not wrong. Alright, so in the middleweights, we have Explicit Equation for the C team. It went undefeated in the regular season, 17-0. It has 4 piston-mounted spikes. Sinister Creations has Cycloid with the 2 side-mounted war pick axes. Both of them are invertible. They're both extremely destructive. Predictions, please, for Explicit Equation and Cycloid. Blackbird has joined the stream. You're not that late. You've only missed the first match, which was Indiana against HIVE, and HIVE moved on to the second round. Could you imagine if Cycloid won here? How crazy would that be if Explicit Equation goes undefeated and then loses in the playoffs? That would be wild. Right. So, let's get this fight underway. So, Cycloid trying to get in at Explicit Equation, who's ripped one of the axes right off, and both of the axes off. So, Cycloid already taken a ton of damage and is weaponless against the undefeated monster of the middleweights, Explicit Equation. And it's not going to last much longer than that. That is a knockout. That is definitely 3 points to the C team. I just saw a super chat pop up from Midnight McLeod. Math must win. Math always wins. Regardless of application, math always wins. So then we have the heavyweights, and Sinister is not looking good. They're down by 4. So that Sinister needs 2 wins. The C team has Steel Dragon 2000, which has these kind of bitey, scissory type weapons classified as overhead and rear hinge flipper type weapons. Sinister Creations has Omnipresence, a sit and spin flail thwackbot. Omnipresence is invertible. Steel Dragon 2000 is not. So, who do you predict to win this fight, chat? Looks like some chat is a pretty split in this one. Number of people predicting that Omnipresence will have trouble with the sit and spin AI. It has been affected by that more than any other sit and spinner this season. So let's see how this one goes. Burnout has just gotten me the scores from the judge's decision to confirm Brickface was the winner. And here we go. It looks like it says 43-7. Ooh, one flail off immediately from Steel Dragon 2000, and now Omnipresence is just smacking away at that left side. Ooh, one entire flail came off, and one of the lower weapons for Steel Dragon 2000 is broken off as well. Omnipresence is tripping over the floor because of that. Whoa, 2 more motors came off. So we're going to have some physics problems here if they're not careful, or... Oh, nope. Omnipresence definitely had a physics problem, that's for sure. Got thrown into the grinder. We'll try that one again. Big bite from Steel Dragon 2000. Breaks 2 flails off so far. As Omnipresence is struggling to keep moving. It's broken the lower left weapon off of Steel Dragon 2000 now. And then it got sent to space. Yes, even in the playoffs, we are not immune to physics problems. Oh, Steel Dragon 2000 has gotten Omnipresence stopped here and is trying to bite away at that left side wheel. And look at the damage that it's done to the top of Omnipresence as it's knocked the wheel off now. So Steel Dragon 2000 doing a lot of damage here to Omnipresence, who's down to just 1-wheel drive. It can still spin somewhat. Steel Dragon 2000 going to try and use those overhead spikes to attack it from above. Look at it carving up the front end of Omnipresence. Look at the shape that it's in. Oh my goodness. It's really difficult to get to the chassis of these giant sit and spin flails, but Steel Dragon 2000 has done it expertly. Wow. And I think this is going to wrap up our match in 61 seconds with a knockout. So, the C team moves on to fight Orlando in the next round. Got lucky, physics intervened. That's physics for you. Argue that when Omni helicoptered, it didn't change the strategic outcome. It sent Omni into the grinder, which caused damage to it, which does change the strategic outcome. Well, we can move on then to the second round. We technically don't need to do a super heavyweight fight. means it is Pink Chaos, the number 2 seed in Division 1, fighting HIVE Academy. I feel like every match that Omni would win would also have a physics bug. Yes and no. Omnipresence has physics bugs when its flail axles come off as well. So if Steel Dragon 2000 takes any of those flails off, it can cause physics bugs. Both of them have exposed axles that can cause problems. So, first fight of the second round of the playoffs in Division 1. Pink Chaos has Unprettier with the overhead claw and sort of able to self-right from some positions. HIVE Academy has Jinx with the side hinge flipper that we've already seen fight against X Factor. So, predictions for Unprettier and Jinx. Also, it should be noted that the teams are very good at repairing their robots very quickly, and Jinx is 100% ready to go. Jinx by a snooze fest. What is the music that you use? It's good. It is from TekonoAxe on YouTube. He produces royalty-free music for people to use for free on YouTube. So, here we go. Well, they both attacked each other's weapons, and now they're at a wedge stalemate. So Burnout's prediction may come true here unless something happens to change this, which it just did as Unprettier tried to get away and Jinx pounced. Not able to flip Unprettier just yet. It's gotten Unprettier up in the air. Unprettier's trying to use its claw to get away, but Jinx is was in control and now back to the wedge stalemate. Unprettier just doesn't have the wedge to get under Jinx and doesn't have the maneuverability or the agility to get around Jinx, and now Jinx has it flipped over against the wall. Unprettier can sort of self-right from this position sometimes, but Jinx is not going to let it. Jinx is trying to attack it and do damage, which it has there. There's a big toss from Jinx. It's going to push Unprettier over to the grinder now, which is doing a ton of damage to the top side of Unprettier, and it's broken the claw right off. So Unprettier going to be unable to self-right. In fact, Jinx is going to get a KO here, I think. That is 3 points. The HIVE Academy strikes first with 3 points to open the match. And so the number 3 seed leads the number 2 seed 3-0. Good for HIVE. Yeah, no kidding. Jinx doesn't normally get KOs, so that was a very, very good performance from Jinx. So, in the middleweights, Pink Chaos has overthrown the 2 front-hinged flippers. HIVE has Gizmo, the invertible rammer. In their previous fight, Gizmo threw itself right out of the ring, which might be a strategic loss in this case, because that would give Pink Chaos only 2 points for a ring out. So, there could be some strategy from Gizmo in this one. HIVE performed badly at the end of the season to lure everyone into a false sense of security. I mean, they also performed badly enough to put themselves down in the 3rd seeding instead of 1st seeding, so... Overthrown because we're getting a sludge fest. I mean, we're probably getting a playoff sludge fest here out of Gizmo. Gizmo flies like Superman out of the arena. Yeah, this is probably what's going to happen, so let's watch. Oh no, Gizmo ducked to the side. and avoided the Sludge Fest, and so Overthrown has had to come in and attack it from underneath. It's knocked one of Gizmo's wheels and racks of spikes off, and Overthrown has ended up on top of Gizmo, who's lost another wheel to the grinder now. Overthrown going for the KO. Oh no, it's broken both of its flipping arms off. So Overthrown does not have the weapon power for a KO now, and has to rely on the grinder for the 3 points, which it does happen as Gizmo brushes the grinder. That is a knockout. So Gizmo was not trying for the strategic loss. They were actually trying to win the battle, and it did not pay off for them. And now the match is tied 3-3. That could have gone badly for either of those robots at any time there. That was pretty interesting. Gizmo didn't ring out. No kidding! Gizmo learned and then got its butt kicked anyway. I mean, it was close. It knocked the weapons off of Overthrown. Just didn't have the wheels to do anything about it after that. So, heavyweight time with a tied match. Pink Chaos has Panther and Invertible Rammer. Hive Academy has Mammoth with the 4 Warpick axes. Predictions for Panther versus Mammoth. Mammoth by KO, just like its regular season fight, says Burnout. I mean, it's probably true. Panther is not a very defensible robot. And it's not particularly well driven either. So we'll see if Panther can avoid that. It's gotten underneath Mammoth, who struck first with those overhead axes. And now Mammoth attacking the chassis of Panther as Panther comes in once again. It's gotten underneath Mammoth and lost one of its Panther paws. Big charge there from Panther, going for the left side axe. Panther's actually being really strategic here, going in and getting a hit and then backing out of it or turning away before Mammoth can strike. As Panther pushes Mammoth into the wall and takes another big charge and backs out of it. There are some teeth broken off of the Panther. Oh, but there goes a wheel, and now Mammoth has Panther right where it wants it. And look at the damage that it's done. Mammoth just continues eating that wheel that came off. There's control board hits now on Panther. I think it's only a matter of time here unless Mammoth shuts down. Ooh, Panther went right for the wheel there. That was a close call for Mammoth, but that is a KO. And Hive once again leads by 3 points. Mammoth reminds me of Splinter from Robot Wars with those axes. Yes. A good comparison to make, except Mammoth doesn't fall apart as easily as Splinter. There is the first crash of the stream. Why do side axes just have radio issues? It's just dumb AI. For some reason, the axe AI in the stock game just loses track of the opponent or something. So, super heavyweight time between Dysfunctional Stepsister and Hive. Dysfunctional Stepsister needs a knockout in order to tie the match and have any hope at the Pink Chaos getting the win. And if it is a tied match, it's going to go to damage points, which currently Hive leads. So, Dysfunctional Stepsister, 10 rear-hinged flipping arms. Hive with the 2 racks of pneumatic spikes. Hive is not invertible, so Dysfunctional Stepsister could take a TKO victory, but they would lose the match if they did so. So predictions, please. Hive could pull out the strategic loss here. Yeah, they absolutely could. Take the TKO and win the match as a result. DS needs lots of points to break the tie, too. Yeah, and Dysfunctional Stepsister's not known for getting a lot of points. There's not a lot of components to break off the underside of most robots. So here we go. A big toss from Dysfunctional Stepsister. Tosses Hive right over it. It's gotten Hive upside down now. And Dysfunctional Stepsister's going to miss with its flipping arms. And pin Hive against the wall. And Hive can't move from that position, so this is going to be a TKO. Hive executing the strategic loss perfectly, driving straight onto the flipper and taking the TKO loss. And that is a victory for Hive. So, Hive Academy moves on to face Heavy Metal in the Division 1 playoff finals. So we move on to Division 2, where the Orlando Commandos are awaiting the C team. Dysfunctional Stepsister with the dysfunctional win. No kidding. Want to see Overthrown versus Heartbreak and Seance rematch. Yeah, looks like we're going to get Heartbreak and Seance against Gizmo instead. No more Pink. It's a shame. Pink Chaos and Heavy Metal were my two teams this season, but Hive pulled out the win. So, Orlando versus the C team next for round 2 in Division 2. Orlando has Airtime, which is a piston flipper. Piston flippers in Robot Arena 2 are missing some of the laws of physics, so it's going to behave strangely. Airtime can self-right from its sides, though. The C team has Brickface, the sit and spin Thwackbot, which is invertible. Predictions for Airtime and Brickface. Everybody going for Brickface. So let's just get it out of the way and get it started. So it's on your YouTube channel. I'm like, this is fun to watch. Thank you. I try to make it as fun as possible. Robot combat is always fun to watch as far as I'm concerned. Ooh, Airtime mistiming its flips and ending up on top of Brickface briefly. Brickface just swatting Airtime away and not letting it get to its chassis, but Airtime has corralled it over near one of the walls, which Brickface doesn't like walls that much. It has knocked Airtime completely over now, and it has self-righted. Oh, but Brickface has thrown itself onto the grinder and taken a ton of damage. That kind of sloped side of Airtime playing into its favor here, combining with the instabilities that Brickface has. That was a big hit to the side of Airtime. And there goes Brickface once again getting unstable. Airtime once again trying to get it near a wall. Ooh, one of the flipping arms off of Airtime now. Airtime doing everything it can, trying to get a lift on Brickface. This Brickface is just smacking away at it. There it goes, knocking Airtime over once again. Airtime trying to get Brickface near the walls and take advantage of those wonky wheel physics. Ooh, Brickface flipped itself over a couple times. It's bumping into the walls repeatedly. Now, Brickface upright once again. And there goes the last of those flipping arms on Airtime, so if it gets turned over here, it might not be able to self-right any longer. And there goes Airtime over onto its side. It's trying to self-right with those pistons. And Brickface manages to knock it back on its wheels. Oh, it knocked it over with its wheel that time. And there goes a wheel off of Airtime now. So we might have a TKO here if airtime can't move. It is kind of shuffling a little bit. With less than a minute to go. Brickface kind of hoping its instability leads it over there to attack airtime. "30 seconds before this goes to a judge's decision. I don't think Brickface is going to be able to get a KO here. There's only a few seconds left for airtime to get counted out, but it is moving enough. I don't think it's going to be an issue. There's a count. Can airtime break the count and take it to the judges? It can. And so this one is going to be a judge's decision. Probably in favor of Brickface. And so the judges are called into play once again. And we move on to the middleweights. Definitely Brickface's fight. Yeah, I think it's pretty clearly Brickface's fight. I'm going to pencil it in as Brickface being the winner, but I am going to need judges' scores to make it official eventually. So, while the judges figure that out, we're going to the middleweights. We have Q for the Orlando Commandos, a sit-and spinner against Explicit Equation with the 4 pneumatic spikes. In their previous fight, Q had Explicit Equation on the ropes before the sit-and spin AI TKO'd Q. So, can Q stop Explicit Equation's undefeated 18-0 streak? Nice being able to write down in my notes just 3 letters. Q-E-E. Right, everybody cheering on Q to break the streak. So, let's see how it goes. Explicit Equation getting some hits to the chassis early. And breaking spikes off of Q. Spikes being broken off of Explicit Equation now as well. Q getting around to the side of Explicit Equation and threatening and taking off a wheel. So Explicit Equation, and now Q's going to spin around the other way and threaten the other wheel. But look at the damage that Q has taken from those upper spikes of Explicit Equation. Q striking at the chassis where that wheel used to be. And now going to threaten that remaining wheel on Explicit Equation. He's trying to keep it a distance. And not take any more damage than it needs. Look at the damage that's piled up on Q, who's taken the last wheel off. Q has done it. Explicit Equation is going to lose by TKO. Or does Q want to get a knockout here? Q is playing with a knockout. Needs to be careful it doesn't get KO'd itself. Which might happen if it's not careful. There's the count. This is going to be, regardless of what robot's being counted, this is a win for Q because Explicit Equation cannot move. And there you have it. The streak is broken. How many time units was that? Glad the streak was broken in the playoffs. Yeah, and that puts Orlando up 2-1. This is still a very close match. 94 seconds, thank you. So, it's heavyweights time, with 1 point separating these two teams. In the heavyweights, the Orlando Commandos have Drillosaurus, 3 vertical spinners in drill form. Steel Dragon 2000 has the bitey scissor type weapons. Drillosaurus is invertible and Steel Dragon 2000 is not. Drillosaurus is 16-1 in the regular season. Only a single loss to Omnipresence, I believe. It has been far and away the most powerful heavyweight this season. So, predictions on Drillosaurus and Steel Dragon 2000. Should we do highlights and fight of the week for the finals? Yes, we're going to have highlights from the playoffs and highlights from the whole season next week or the next couple of weeks. We're going to give out all of our season awards as well in videos for the next week or two. That is all coming up in the future. Most of chat predicting Drillosaurus. Let's see how it goes. Steel Dragon 2000 can get to Drillosaurus's chassis. At the moment, it cannot, and in fact, it's ended up on top of Drillosaurus, which is not where any robot wants to be. Drillosaurus is just swinging those drills away and breaking off Steel Dragon 2000's weapons one at a time. But oh, it was doing damage to Drillosaurus, who just tossed the remaining spike right out of the ring, and now it's just breaking motors off for fun. Steel Dragon 2000 tries to push Drillosaurus back to the wall. Steel Dragon 2000 does have some defensive features. Oh my goodness, is Drillosaurus stuck on debris? Oh, Steel Dragon 2000 freed it. That could have been a winning moment there. Oh, an entire drill has come off of Drillosaurus, and now Steel Dragon 2000 is going to wedge under it and push it back to the wall. But I don't think it's going to matter. 58 seconds and Drillosaurus has the KO. And that is the win for the Orlando Commandos over the C-Team. It is now 5-1, and there's only 3 points available, so C-Team cannot win from there, even if they had a KO. So Orlando moves on to fight Meta. Can we do Hygiene versus Aberrant for the heck of it? We will have some exhibition fights at the end of the stream once everything's completed. Right. Snowing Steak just popped up with a £5 super chat, wondering if we're going to be able to vote for the nominees for the awards. There are awards you can vote for, which I believe it's the most popular award. I forget exactly what it was. Maybe most popular and coolest robot for each weight class. We'll open up voting too. That'll be on Twitter and in the Discord server. So if you want to get your opinions in for that, you definitely want to follow the Twitter account at Robot Rampage or click the link in the description for the Discord server. So it is Division Finals time between Heavy Metal Robotics and HIVE Academy for the Division 1 title. Heavy Metal has Voidwalker, 360-degree horizontal spinner. HIVE Academy has Jinx, the side-hinged flipper. Voidwalker is not invertible. Predictions, please, for Voidwalker and Jinx. Rip C-Team, your undefeated robot was a bit of a fraud. I mean, it didn't go undefeated by accident, that's for sure. Lots of chat predicting Jinx, lots of chat predicting Voidwalker. I think both robots have the capability of KOing the other. So let's see how this one goes. Voidwalker getting up to speed immediately and getting a big hit to Jinx's side. Jinx is trying to get Voidwalker stopped using its own weapon. And has managed to get Voidwalker stopped, but took a lot of damage in the process. Jinx is trying to wedge under Voidwalker's wheel. Voidwalker not having any of it. It's trying to get away and get up to speed, but Jinx is just attacking away at those spinning bars. Voidwalker just keeps going up the wedge. Ooh, one of the spikes broke off of Jinx's weapon, actually. As it's trying to toss Voidwalker over, it just doesn't have the leverage to quite get it fully over as smoke starts to come out of Jinx now. One of the spikes off of Voidwalker, so now Voidwalker is going to be unbalanced. Ooh, control board hits against Jinx, so the damage is piling up. Which robot will wear down the other first here? Jinx continues to try to wedge under Voidwalker's side. So we in the semifinals, and we are in the division finals. This is for the Division 1 championship, as that's another control board hit on Jinx, who really has a lot of smoke coming out of it now. Tried to break the stalemate and paid the price for it there, and now is just trying to survive as long as possible. We're now into the second half of the timed portion of this fight. Jinx is going to try and push Voidwalker against the wall here, but it is not going to help out. Jinx is known for pushing judges' decisions. Ooh, Voidwalker got away. It's not going to a judge's decision. That's a KO for Voidwalker. And so, and I think that was 121 seconds. Heavy Metal has gone up in the lead 3-0. That's not how that goes. That's how that goes. Okay. So, where's the rule set for building robots for this? We have not released the rule set for Season 2 just yet. That'll be either in February or March that we come out with the rule set for Season 2. Sign-ups will be after that, of course. We are still finishing Season 1, so we'll deal with the Season 2 rules in a bit. So, now it is middleweights time. Heavy Metal has Heartbreak and Seance, the multi-bot. Heartbreak has the pneumatic spike, and Seance has the rear hinged flipper. HIVE, of course, has Gizmo, the invertible rammer. Predictions for Heartbreak and Seance versus Gizmo. Heavy Metal is leading 3-0 at the moment. So Gizmo would need to get a knockout to tie it, and a knockout against Heartbreak and Seance means KOing both of them, not just one of them. Which is going to make it really difficult for Gizmo to get 3 points here. Gizmo Fest is going to happen. Probably not. It would be pretty difficult for him to do that, for Gizmo to do that on the side of the arena. Chat is back and forth between Gizmo and Heartbreak and Seance, so let's see who takes this one. Gizmo does have weapon power up front, and it's going... Ooh, look at the damage it did to Heartbreak to start the fight. Oh, but it did ramp and tumble off the front end of Seance with the flipper. And Seance is going to go right after Gizmo over by the sidewall and try and cause it as many problems as possible, as Heartbreak's going to come in and try to do some damage. Seance has gotten Gizmo up in the air now. Gizmo's trying to hide on top of Seance. I hope that Heartbreak attacks Seance instead. Look at the Seance just tossing Gizmo around. Heartbreak gets flipped over from Gizmo's drive power. It's not going to affect Heartbreak that much, because it can run inverted. And Gizmo's tossed onto the grinder by the mini-bot pair and loses a wheel. So Gizmo losing some of its driving ability here. Heartbreak's spike has come totally off and is now weaponless. And it is up to Seance. Gizmo's running from the pair of mini-bots. Ooh, Gizmo's driven itself over into the grinder, and Seance is going to come over and get a couple of tosses on it, a couple of flips. Or more like a couple of lifts. Oh, but another wheel has come off to the grinder, so Gizmo with a driving mistake to end up over there in the first place, and Seance took advantage. And now they're going to chase it over to the other grinder. Look at this. Gizmo is on the run. One of Gizmo's spikes came off. And Seance is going to lift it up into the air some more, and they're going to corral it to a third grinder now. Heartbreak trying to ram Gizmo in there. Oh, Seance got stuck under the grinder and lost its flipper now. So both of the mini-bots are weaponless. Seance just trying to wedge Gizmo towards the grinder. So now it is a battle of crippled robots here. Two mini-bots with no weapons. Gizmo only with two-wheel drive on one side. And I think this is going to probably last to the judges. There's 30 seconds remaining. Oh, but Gizmo drives itself into the grinder again and loses more spikes. Heartbreak and Seance have just gotten in each other's way here. And it looks like it is going to the judges. So, judges, get your scorecards out. So, Heartbreak and Seance taking Gizmo to the judges. I can't really call that one. Heartbreak and Seance were in control, but Gizmo disabled their weapons completely and made them useless. So, I'm going to have to wait on judges' scores to be able to confidently say which robot should win that point, and that is a single point. So even if Hive gets it, Heavy Metal would still be up by 2. So while the judges figure that one out, we're going on to the heavyweights. It is Vacuity for Heavy Metal Robotics. Overhead battle axe with a bunch of defensive features around its kind of wedgy pontoons. Hive Academy has Mammoth with the 4 Warpick axes, 2 overhead and 2 from the side. Neither robot's really invertible. I don't think it's going to matter in this fight in particular, but they're both very, very durable axe bots. Mammoth is known for being extremely tenacious, and Vacuity for taking robots to the judges. So, chat, who do we predict to win? I'm just checking my messages. Brickface versus Airtime scores 40-10. Chat looks like they've gone entirely for Mammoth in this one. Or almost entirely for Mammoth. Well, we'll get this started. And we will see how the scores total up for the previous fight at the end of this one. Big collision. Vacuity is attacking the top of Mammoth's axes, but Mammoth is attacking the sides and... Actually, I'm not sure if it's getting through to the center of Vacuity, but it has broken Vacuity's axe off. And Vacuity is now weaponless. But this is how it manages to last to the end of its fights, is with all these defensive features everywhere. And being a wedge, it has Mammoth up against the wall and is just pinning it there to exert dominance. We'll have to break a TKO count to avoid a restart, which it has done. Mammoth comes in once again. It's broken now some of the defensive armor off of Vacuity's right side. but it is not able to land those overhead axes to Vacuity because of Vacuity's shape. But look at the right side of Vacuity now, missing most of its defensive features. Mammoth just slowly taking Vacuity apart here. But Vacuity has the wedge. That's going to carry Mammoth over to the wall once again. Ooh, that was a solid sounding impact. So Vacuity taking chassis damage here, but trying to exert control using its wedge. I don't think that's going to matter, though, because Mammoth has scored a knockout in 95 seconds. And so, Hive Academy has 3 points. And if they have the judge's decision, they have 4-3. So I absolutely need those scores to know how this match is going as we get prepared for the final fight of Division 1's championship finals. Is going to be Aqua Dementia versus Hive. Aqua Dementia, the side-hinged flipper. Hive, not invertible, with the pneumatic spikes. Just got the scores in from Burnout here. And that is a 31-19 win for Heartbreak and Seance. So Heavy Metal is leading 4-3. Chat predicting Aqua Dementia to win. Hive needs to win this in order to win the match. Cannot go to the judges. And we'll see what it can do. Other than, well, it can go up straight up Aqua Dementia's wedge and get flipped over is what Hive can do. Aqua Dementia going to play with its food a little bit here. Could just take the TKO. Actually, it's got to be careful with the grinder. It's lost a wheel now to the grinder. Trying to be fancy. It's taking a wheel off of Hive as well. 2 wheels off of Hive. That's a knockout for 3 points. And Heavy Metal wins the match. And advances to the championship final. So, Heavy Metal Robotics will be competing for the Grand Championship. They are the Division 1 champions. And now we just have our Division 2 championship to decide, and we'll know who our finals are. And this is between teams 12 and 13, the Meta Bot Builders, and the Orlando Commandos. Let me look up where Meta is from, because I don't remember. Green Bay, Wisconsin versus Orlando. This is Packers versus Dolphins, basically. So, the Metabot Builders and the Lightweights have Ugly Bot with the pneumatic spike piston. The Orlando Commandos have Airtime with the piston flippers. Predictions, please, for Ugly Bot versus Airtime. Can't believe we have to sit through another airtime match. I know, right? Well, looks like most of chat is going with Uglybot, so we're going to see how it goes. Uglybot is going to trip over the wall and immediately snap one of the flipping arms off of Airtime. Not even giving Airtime a chance to attempt a flip, and now Airtime has fallen over, mistiming its flip. Uglybot going after that wheel on the side of Airtime. As Airtime tries to get that flipping arm under Uglybot's chassis. Ooh, it did get a lift on Uglybot, but not enough to get it over. Uglybot is going to stab away at Airtime in response. Airtime's trying its best to get around Uglybot's weapon. It just doesn't have the reach or the drive power to really wedge under Uglybot, who's gotten Airtime to flip itself over here. And it's now just going to stab away at it. One minute into the fight. Airtime is taking quite a bit of damage, but it is still holding out and is successfully delaying Uglybot here. Every Drillosaurus fight must be balanced by an equal and opposite Airtime fight. I mean, Airtime's doing a pretty good defensive driving job so far, although it has lost its left side wheel to Uglybot finally. Uglybot has been working away at that left side for a while. And now smoke coming out of Airtime as it's taking damage to those spikes. So, if Airtime can push a judge's decision, then that would severely limit the number of points Meta could get from this fight. And that would give Orlando an advantage heading into the next one. But Uglybot has broken free from the little dance and pushed Airtime back towards one of the grinders. "40 seconds remaining. And there's a huge shot to land control board hits. And that is a knockout with 35 seconds to go. Uglybot scoring the 3 points. And Orlando is trailing 3-0. So, how will the middleweights go? The Metabot builders have Creighton, which is 4 rear-hinged flipping arms. It went undefeated for 13 weeks before losing to Explicit Equation. I think it finished with a final record of 15-2. Your Orlando Commandos have Q, who has already beaten the unbeatable in Explicit Equation. So, do we think the invertible Q can beat Creighton? Predictions, chat. This might be interesting. Yeah, it would be interesting. Especially if Q could go through the top 2 middleweights in the league in the playoffs. Orlando might as well forfeit the lightweight match every time. Hey, Q's gotten a couple wins. Alright, chat is kind of back and forth. A lot of predictions for Creighton, a lot of predictions for Q. So let's see how this one goes. Q definitely has a lot of ground clearance for Creighton to get right under it. Creighton's best bet would be a fast ring out. It does not want to let Q get up to speed, which Q has done so. Creighton's going to toss it through the air some more. But Q with those spikes is dangerous, and now Q's upside down. And those spikes are higher up off the floor. And Q going to get around under Creighton's side and do some damage to it. And now Creighton panicking and mistiming those flipping arms. It is flipping Q into the air, but not doing a ton of damage when it does so. And now Creighton going to risk... Oh, it lost both of its wheels to the grinder. Creighton, what have you done? It was trying to use the grinder to its advantage, and it paid the price of careless driving. And Q is going to beat Creighton by TKO. And so Q has downed the 2 top middleweights in the league and put Orlando just 1 point behind Meta. It's a 3-2 match in Meta's favor at the moment. Going into the heavyweights, which is definitely going to favor Orlando with Drillosaurus. So, Meta has Psychogenic Harmfulness, the double vertical spinner. Orlando has Drillosaurus, the triple vertical spinner with the 3 drills. Psychogenic is not invertible, and it relies on those front stabilizers to stabilize itself. Drillosaurus can drive upside down, but it has extremely vulnerable wheels. So, what do we predict for Psychogenic Harmfulness versus Drillosaurus? Q becoming a legend killer. No kidding. And lots of, pretty much the whole chat going for Drillosaurus in this one. We will see how it goes. Psychogenic, a good point scorer, not known for being spectacular, but a good point scorer for Meta. It's collided with Drillosaurus, and they're just kind of going weapon tip to weapon tip here, trying to break off those razor tips on the center drill. Although I think Psychogenic is the one losing most of the spiked weapons here, and it's lost one of those stabilizers on the front end now. Drillosaurus lost 3 or so spikes off of its drills. Psychogenic Harmfulness does have those center ramming spikes as a defensive feature, and now it's lost both of the stabilizers. Drillosaurus has lost the center disc and most of the right side disc. Look at the damage that Psychogenic's doing, going right through the center of Drillosaurus. Drillosaurus taking a lot of damage here, although Psychogenic is losing a lot of its weapon teeth, and it's hit Drillosaurus from behind and flipped it over now. They're all tripping over the debris on the floor, and Psychogenic's going to fall on its face. Drillosaurus is going to take it over to the wall. And Psychogenic struggling to move, and Drillosaurus has taken the only remaining weapons off of Psychogenic. It's just a bare disc now. Drillosaurus still with 1 drill remaining. Only 2 spikes left on that drill. And so Psychogenic is just holding out hope here that it can push this fight to the end or get Drillosaurus stuck or something. So they're all tripping over debris. Drillosaurus now high-centered on some of the debris. And Psychogenic is going to try and exert some aggression, but it has lost a wheel in the process and freed Drillosaurus once again. And Drillosaurus has lost all of its weapons now. They're both weaponless with a minute remaining. Psychogenic, the only one with damaging components left on it. And Drillosaurus is going to push it back into the grinder and knock one of those armor plates off. Look at Drillosaurus absolutely taking advantage of the grinder here. There's a TKO count for, I think, Drillosaurus for not moving. It's going to get free, so is Psychogenic. 30 seconds remaining. And Drillosaurus going to try to push Psychogenic Harmfulness around the arena now. And lifting Psychogenic onto its side. 15 seconds remaining, and Drillosaurus has stopped moving altogether. I think it might be centered up. No, it has gotten free from the debris. And this one is going to the judges, with Psychogenic getting pushed into the grinder. Wow. The most destructive robot in the heavyweights being taken to the judges by Psychogenic Harmfulness. Judges are getting a workout this week. And that one is too close for me to call. That might be one of the best fights we've had. Certainly the whole stream. That's definitely in the top 10 fights of the season. And that point is going to be critical here. because Meta is leading by a single point. So if Drillosaurus wins that, it's tied. If Meta wins that, then Orlando needs a knockout in the super heavyweights. First time Drillosaurus has gone the full 3 minutes. That's the first time anybody has gone the full 3 minutes with Drillosaurus. So, what happens if they tie the match? If they tie the match, total damage points decide the winner of the match then. Which at the moment, you know, it's pretty close. I think Orlando has the edge on that at the moment, but Spearmint causes a lot of damage. So, we don't know. So, Spearmint for Meta Bot Builders, the Spiked Scoop Rammer that is not invertible. Abrin for Orlando Commandos with the 4 Warpick Axes, also not invertible. Abrin can KO things very fast. It is very deadly. Spearmint is known for scooping robots right over the walls and out of the ring. A TKO could be the difference between a win and a tie here. So, who do we predict to win between Spearmint and Abrin? As I wait for those judges' decisions to come in, those judges' scores. Spearmint if it drives well, but Abrin could severely punish a mistake. No kidding, Abrin can KO robots in 3 or 4 hits if it gets the chassis. Abrin has to win either way. Well, yes. Abrin may need a knockout, or it could just win on a judge's decision. We don't know yet. But we're going to start this match, this fight, and we're going to find out. Here we go. Spearmint ending up on top of Abrin's wedges, and Abrin attacking the scoop of Spearmint. Spearmint had it in the air briefly, but Abrin has gotten down and attacked the scoop once again. Spearmint struggling with the floor, and Abrin attacking that scoop pretty consistently here. Spearmint struggling with getting under Abrin. Scores for the last fight have come in. I will get to that in a second as Spearmint pushes Abrin into the grinder to score a little bit of damage to Abrin's chassis. It keeps running into Abrin's wedges and stalemating, and that may or may not be a good thing because Spearmint can flip itself over. Oh, it's backed itself into the grinder. And it has flipped itself over off the rear end of Abrin. So Abrin baited Spearmint by turning around, and now Spearmint is stuck on its end. And if Abrin takes a TKO here, this could be a tie, or it could be a win. We are about to find out, because Abrin is taking the guaranteed TKO here with 149 remaining. "71 seconds. So, Orlando with 4 points. Meta with 3. What is the judge's decision? It is in favor of Drillosaurus, 31-19. And so that is a 5-3 win for the Orlando Commandos, beating the number 1 seed to win Division 2. And so, it is going to be Nashville's Heavy Metal Robotics against Orlando, Florida's Orlando Commandos for the Robot Rampage League Championship. So, the Meta Bot Builders, who had 50 fight wins, which is something like 8 more fight wins than any other team in the league. They never drew. They had more wins than just about anybody else. They dominated the regular season. They go out even with the #1 seeding. And it is down to Heavy Metal and Orlando for the league championship. So, in the lightweights, it's Voidwalker against Airtime, the horizontal spinner against the flipper. Predictions, please. What seeds were these teams? Heavy Metal was the #1 seed in Division 1. Orlando Commandos were the #2 seed in Division 2. So Orlando has won 2 fights to get here. Heavy Metal's only had to fight once. Chat siding with Voidwalker for this one. We will see if Voidwalker can KO Airtime before Airtime flips it over. And Voidwalker immediately getting up to speed and slamming into the side of Airtime, who mistimed that flip. And look at the damage that Airtime has taken and lost a wheel now as well. Voidwalker is not playing around here. He's broken one of the flipping arms off. And the other flipping arm as well. And this is going to be a fast knockout for Voidwalker to put Heavy Metal up 3-0 to start. And we get our final multi-bot fight of the league, with Heartbreak and Seance taking on Orlando's Q. So, Q, pretty destructive. It's taken down 2 legends so far. Can it deal with getting harassed from both ends by the multi-bot pair? Predictions, please, for Q versus Heartbreak and Seance. Burnout letting us know that these teams tied. They had a draw in their regular season match. So, it might come down to tiebreakers. We don't know. Q has been the MVP of Orlando so far this playoffs, this postseason. Heartbreak and Seance versus Q. Most of chat is on Q's side. So let's see what Heartbreak and Seance can do to the sit and spinner. Q is actually successfully keeping them at bay, but it's ended up on top of Heartbreak, who's stabbing his own teammate and stopping Seance from getting in there and taking damage in the process. Seance did get a lift on Q, but Q is doing a ton of damage. It's actually knocked out Seance already, and now it is working on Heartbreak as well. Heartbreak's lost its spike off of its piston. Q's got to be careful of the sit and spin AI issues here, because Heartbreak is not moving very much. Q actually doing most of its damage just by running into Heartbreak here. Heartbreak is just trying to get away as slowly as it is. Never would have thought I'd see a fight where Q was struggling to damage another robot, but it looks like Q is going to get the knockout on both of them, and therefore that is a 3-point win for Q to tie the match. I actually have to total up for the multi-bot here. $14.02, that's a good movie. Or 1408, I think, was the movie. Never mind. 65 seconds, thank you. So, we are all tied up at 3 points. Heavyweight time. Vacuity, all defense. Drillosaurus, all offense. Wasn't 1408 the Haunted Hotel movie? Yes. What do we predict for Vacuity versus Drillosaurus here? Whoever wins the title should have their logo updated to have a star to represent their title. That's not a bad idea. Drillosaurus won by TKO the first time. It needs a KO here. We will see. Because Vacuity is famous for pushing judges' decisions. So, let's see what happens with Vacuity and Drillosaurus in this tied championship match. Vacuity swinging the axe into Drillosaurus' weapons, and Drillosaurus ending up underneath Vacuity. There goes the axe in 12 seconds. And now Vacuity presenting more defensive features for Drillosaurus to harm its own weapons on. Vacuity using its wedge-like pontoons to get underneath Drillosaurus, who is just slowly chipping away at the front end of Vacuity here. There goes some more components off the front of Vacuity and one of the armor plates. And so now Vacuity's chassis is exposed to that right front corner. But Vacuity is a good wedge, and it's going to scoop Drillosaurus up and push it over to the wall. And now Drillosaurus on top of Vacuity. And Vacuity's going to take Drillosaurus over to the other wall. Oh, but Drillosaurus damaging Vacuity from above. Vacuity is on control board hits. And that is going to be the 3-point knockout that Drillosaurus needed. And so, Orlando leads 6-3. Heavy Metal needs a knockout in the super heavyweights to tie and have any chance here, but a tie will go to damage points, and so far that is being led by Orlando. So, Aqua Dementia, the side hinge flipper against Abrin, the 4 axes. Predictions, please chat for the championship deciding fight. Q carrying Orlando to a title after beating the 2 best bots in the competition. Quite possibly. If Aqua Dementia gets a TKO, they lose the match. That is true. Aqua Dementia needs a knockout. A lot of chat is predicting Abrin. A lot is predicting Aqua Dementia. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if Aqua Dementia can come up clutch with the KO. It did not get under Abrin. And Abrin is going to KO Aqua Dementia in 5 seconds to seal the championship. That is as decisive as it gets. And so, ladies and gentlemen, your winners, your champions of the Robot Rampage League, are the Orlando Commandos. There they are, the whole team. They beat the best of Division 2, they beat the best of Division 1, and Orlando is your Robot Rampage League Grand Champions. And so, American Killjoy, not being in the chat, has won his team a championship. Oh man, that was great. That was a great season. So, we still have another 20 minutes or so of the regular stream. So what fights do you guys want to see? What exhibition fights do you guys want to see while we bask in the glory of Orlando's win here? Chuluota will be cheering through the night. Yes, because the Commandos are not based in Orlando itself. All right, so We have Heartbreak and Seance versus Axis and Allies as a recommended fight, which I'm okay with. The two multi-bots against each other, even though they're different weight classes. Axis and Allies being on the Armchair Engineers team, who finished dead last in the season. Quora Flavomarganata with the $20 super chat saying, Abrin smash. That was exactly how that fight ended. Thank you for the super chat, Quora. Thank you for all of your contributions to the Discord server as well. So let's see the two multi-bots against each other. Axis and Allies, the double vertical spinner and front hinged flipper. Heartbreak and Seance, the piston poker and rear hinged flipper. Allies has already pretty much knocked out. It has knocked out Seance. Axis is harassing Heartbreak, and Heartbreak's going to get attacked by Allies now. How about a Orlando Commandos Champions Rumble? We could do that, absolutely. Overvolter, Overclock, Overheat, Overseer. We can do that too. As we wait for Axis and Allies to finish bullying the little mini-bots. And there's the knockout, finally. For once, Allies did all the work. Let's do that Orlando Rumble. And then we will do the Over Rumble. Okay, Airtime, what do you got against your more successful teammates? Ooh, all the sit and spins together. That sounds fun. Look at poor Airtime. Look at the shape that it's in. Drillosaurus is under Abrin. Abrin is going to fuck Q up. Poor Q doesn't know what to do. So Abrin's gonna knock Q the fuck out. And now it's gonna come after Drillosaurus. I think Airtime took a control board hit from Abrin's defensive armor. Oh, Physics got angry about that one. Oh, look at the shots that Abrin landed on Drillosaurus. Oh, but it's ended up in the air, and now Drillosaurus is gonna take the win, I think. So that's Abrin knocked out, Airtime TKO'd, and Drillosaurus, the Orlando Commandos champion. There was a super chat from Burnout. Despite my teams leading the league all season, one of your teams wins the finals. Totally not bitter. Ha, that's what you get for making an entirely meta team. All of my robots that I've recycled from the Patreon show won. All right, so we're going to do the Over Rumble, and then we will see what you guys recommend from there. Oh, the game was very upset about that one. Don't need that anymore. Let's get the game back up. Speed King with the $20 super chat. Hey, Mike, congrats on a great season. Here's to an even better season 2. Either most damaging bots or Ramfest if possible, please. Yeah, we will get that started. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Season 2 is looking really good so far. People are building a lot of cool robots in the Discord server. So I highly recommend checking that out if you can. Where are all of our Over robots? I know one of them is down here. Valley View has Overvolter. We have Overthrown on Pink Chaos. Then we just need Overclock, I think, which I think might be on the Rebels. Yeah, there's Overclock. Here we go, Over Rumble. I think Overseer, the super heavyweight, might actually be the weakest of the robots in this one. So Overvolter lands a hit to Overthrown as, or Overseer did, I should say. Overvolter is on top of Overclock. Overthrown is stuck in the grinder now. Overseer is using its mass to its advantage. And now Overthrown... Oh, Overthrown got off of the grinder finally. Overclock is poking away at Overseer. There are parts all over the arena from all of these overs. Look at the overthrow from Overthrown. Oh, but I just now noticed that Overthrown has lost a wheel as Overvolter's tossed over the top of it. Overclock doing its best to try to hurt somebody with its nose kicked in. Overseer's just kind of there being annoying, just kind of being the big guy pushing people away. So Overvolter's upside down and can't self-right, it looks like. Overseer's going to pick on it while Overthrown sits on top of Overclock. Oh, Overseer's going to use the grinder against poor little Overvolter. That's not fair. Oh, Overclock took the last, or took the wheel guard off of Overthrown. So Overseer's just being a menace, as it has all season. So that's Overvolter TKO'd. Overseer's trying. That's all that matters. Is Overclock going to win? It looks like it. Overthrown has got its last wheel taken off. And Overseer's not really scoring damage anymore. So I think the game might give this one to Overclock on damage. Oh, but Overthrown has broken 2 of the spikes off of Overclock. So it's down to these 2. Ironically, even though Overclock is a lightweight and is lacking in drive power, I think it's still faster than Overseer. There goes some of the defensive features of Overseer with 12 seconds to go. Overseer's going to try and push Overclock to the grinder and miss and hit the wall instead. There's some grinder action. And a wheel comes off at the last minute. No, it's Overseer with the higher damage total. So Overseer, just being the bully, ends up winning it. So what should we do next, chat? All the super heavyweight rammers was a suggestion I saw. Player named Default has popped in a $5 super chat. Thanks for weeks upon weeks of great content. You are one of my main inspirations to start the Dadu John John channel. You and Burnout are the best. Hey man, thanks a lot. I'm glad to see other people making content. Glad to see we've inspired people, and I'm glad people have enjoyed the Robot Rampage League. This whole season was a test. We just wanted to see if people would be interested in it, and you have all blown us away with your interest in this. I'm very excited with how the league has gone. I'm very excited for how the league is going to go for Season 2. Rumble between the 4 heavyweights from the 4 worst teams. What was one of the other things that I saw? Super heavyweight rammers was up there. Where are our super heavyweight rammers? There's Id, which is kind of like a rammer. There's White Hot, which is kind of like a rammer. There's Hygiene. There's Spearmint. I know Heart Attack is in here somewhere. Where are you at, Heart Attack? There you are. Do we have another rammer? We might. There's Blood Eagle. All right. Heart Attack, Blood Eagle, Hygiene, Spearmint. All rammers. Way too many wheels to count. Let's see how it goes. Well, Blood Eagle has been rammed up the backside and ended up on top of Spearmint's wedge. Heart Attack is attacking from the rear and is wedged under Spearmint, and so has Hygiene now. He's going to just take wheels right off of it. Heart Attack has ended up on top of the wall somehow. And Blood Eagle's going to push Heart Attack almost out of the ring. So Spearman's just chilling on its back like it does. And Heart Attack's going to get some free damage points on it while it can. Hyogini's just throwing itself all over the place because it can. Ooh, they're going to team up to push Blood Eagle towards the grinder. But Hyogini's going to lose a wheel in the process. Oh, look at the double team. Blood Eagle getting spit roasted here. While Spearmint gets counted out, they're going to break a pin count. And Blood Eagle going to go after... They're both double teaming Hyogini now. This is just back and forth. And Hyogini's going to throw itself into the grinder because that's all Hyogini knows how to do is throw itself into things. Heart Attack almost threw itself over the wall because it bounced off the floor. There go some wedges off of... and some wheels off of Heart Attack, who's just flipped over. Hello, Dolphin Treasure in the chat. I see you. There goes Hyogini losing its motors to the grinder. Heart Attack upside down with only left side drive. Blood Eagle missing a right rear wheel as well. There goes the last of the rear wheels off of Hyogini. So now it's 6-wheel drive like everybody else. Physics got mad at Hyogini, though, for that. That's what you get for losing 2 of your wheels. Now Heart Attack stuck under the grinder. Hyogini's losing all of its spikes to Blood Eagle here. Lost his other back wheel to the wall. Yeah, that's the kind of thing Hyogini does. Heart Attack is still in this somehow. 30 seconds to go. Blood Eagle's running out of drive power. I think Hyogini is the one that's definitely on top as far as judges go because it is the only one that's still moving. I think Hyogini has taken off of all of its own wheels. I don't think anybody's actually taken them off for it. And now Blood Eagle and Heart Attack being TKO counted. And with 6 seconds remaining, Hyogini is your ramming winner. Four heavyweights from the 4 worst teams. Up next. So, the Armchair Engineers were at the bottom. And their heavyweight is... Oh, we can't do that in a Rumble because they have a multi-bot. I will look for the next suggestion. I think we could probably do 2 more fights for fun here. SNS Rumble, that's it. Let's get an SNS Rumble going. Where's our SNS bots at? Orlando's got Q. Now Sinister has Omnipresence. Mantines have Falcon Punch. And I think Surgical Glory is in here somewhere. Where are you at, Surgical Glory? You were on Kinetic Creatures. Alright. Prepare to point and laugh at the stupid 2003 era AI. Surgical Glory and Q and Falcon Punch all spin in celebration of a successful Robot Rampage League season. And the game has decided Falcon Punch is the winner. That was like watching gears intermeshing with each other. That was kind of funny. All right, let's do one more. What do we got? Middleweight Flipper Rumble is a suggestion. So yeah, I think we might have enough flippers to do a middleweight flipper rumble. Because we've got Galactic Fabrication. We've got Overthrown. Where are... Oh, it's on meta. We've got Creighton. Do we have one more middleweight flipper? I think we do, somewhere. Got Cleansing. I think it's Cleansing is going to be our last middleweight flipper. There we go. Middleweight rumble to end the stream. Middleweight flipper rumble. Vimming ain't easy. $10 super chat. It is nice that a 15-year-old game can provide you with a means to generate a modicum of support. Here's to a growing community. Yeah. Stock Robot Arena 2 from 2003. So it's 17. It's turning 18 this year. Jesus freak. Robot Arena 2 is old enough to smoke this year. It is... It didn't have a whole lot of support before this. People played DSL a little bit. There was, you know, less than 100 people still playing the game, and so I was really questioning whether or not a Robot Arena 2 series would be worth doing. And I've been blown away by the amount of support. So many people have been so excited about this. I've seen so many new people playing the game. I've seen so many people coming back to stock that haven't played it in a long time. I'm actually very excited for Season 2. This is... Robot Rampage League is probably my favorite series that I've done so far. We did a Patreon show with Robot Arena 2, and I think this is much more fun. Galactic Fabrication is outside the arena. Creighton has died, and Cleansing and Overthrown, the two front hinge flippers, are going to microwave because fuck you, that's why. I'm not going to accept a microwave fight. I don't have to accept a microwave fight, so we're going to start it over again just to watch robots fly through the air. Cleansing in the air, Galactic Fabrication in the air. The two successful middleweight flippers are just bullying the other two at the moment. Looks like Cleansing and Overthrown are just going to microwave for the rest of the fight. Galactic Fabrication is having a bad time. Creighton is driving vertically up the... Oh my goodness! Galactic Fabrication almost snuck a ring out. That would have been hilarious. GFAB does have the power to do a ring out. It's just never been able to do it. Cleansing got thrown and is coming back for revenge, and they're just going to microwave again. I'm more interested in Creighton and Galactic Fabrication here. Creighton's getting its butt kicked. Oh, now don't you two microwave as well. Watch out Orcs Wars. Watch out Robotal Wars. Watch out Banter Wars. Robot Rampage League is here. So as soon as this fight concludes, I'm going to have some closing things to say before we end the stream about how Season 2 is going to go. So don't tune out just yet. If you are interested in Season 2, you're definitely going to want to hear what I'll have to say. Looks like Overthrown is taking charge now. Well, Creighton has something to say about that. Overthrown really likes those grinders. Yay, my wife made me pizza. It looks delicious. Can you see the pizza? It looks amazing. Thank you, beautiful. Pizza is a good way to celebrate the end of the Robot Rampage season, I think. All of the robots are down to one wheel except for Overthrown. Well, it KO'd Cleansing finally. Goodbye, Cleansing, you terrible robot. Fun fact, I built Cleansing specifically to destroy one single robot that a friend of mine made. Pizza and Mountain Dew. Yeah, I gotta get some Mountain Dew. I ran out. But I did turn my Mountain Dew bottles into a cardboard rendering of a gearbox. So, you know, that's how it goes. Alright. That will conclude the fights. So now it is time to talk Season 2. So, next season, we're going to, well, between seasons, we're going to release the Robot Rampage AI pack. That is going to come at the end of the month. I think it's the 1st of February. We're going to release the AI pack. It is going to be an entire copy of Robot Arena 2, and it has all of the teams AI'd for you. It has all the teams in the Robot Designs folder, so you can import them and see how they're built. And, you know, work on them or whatever you want to do. So you'll get to play with the Robot Rampage League stuff once we release the AI pack. That's coming February 1st. Somewhere next weekend-ish, we're going to have follow-up videos with highlights and awards and such. We're going to give you a month or so to play around with the AI pack, and then we're going to release our Season 2 rules. They're still not finalized. We still are tweaking them here and there, so we still don't know exactly how the rules are going to be, but they're going to be similar to the rules for this season. There are a few details in the Discord server about the rules so far, but we're going to release the rules, I think probably the 1st of March is probably when those Season 2 build rules are going to come out. That's also going to have the rules for how to get a team in the Robot Rampage League for Season 2. We're looking at somewhere between 24 and 30 teams for Season 2, depending on how difficult it's going to be to manage. Like, if everything's pretty straightforward, maybe 30 teams. If everybody's doing multi-bots, then maybe 24 teams. But we'll see how that goes. So, you do not need to have Robot Arena 2 to have a team next season. Most of the Season 1 teams, most of their robots are going to be in a free agency and can be drafted and signed to a team. So you don't have to have the game. You can draft four robots and have a team anyway. If you only build a couple of robots, you can draft robots to fill the remainder of your team. It's something new we're doing for next season. There's a free agency of robots that are already built, already approved, that can be drafted to any team that they're not on. So that's definitely something to look forward to if you don't have Robot Arena 2, can't play it, etc. Then the division and playoff structure is going to depend on the number of teams. We still hope to have a stepladder format because I like stepladder formats. What else is there about Season 2? We don't have set dates yet, but it might be like June or July that Season 2 starts finally, because we're going to give a month for people to build their robots once the build rules come out. We're going to give a couple of months for people to submit their robots and their free agents and all that kind of stuff. There's going to be 3 different stages to applying. It's not just send in your stuff and tell us what you are. You got to go through 3 stages of applications. So if there's more teams applying than we have room for, we're going to have to pick and choose which teams best fit the league. So just applying does not mean you get in, unfortunately. But yeah, that's how Season 2 is looking to shape up so far. All of the details will be released in the Discord server. The link is in the description of this video. We have a couple of different channels currently for the Robot Rampage League for discussion, for showing off the robots that you're building. We also have a Robot Rampage Twitter account that we do all of our announcements and stats and such on. That is @RobotRampage. So make sure you are following the Robot Rampage Twitter account. We also do our polls to vote for Fight of the Week and everything there. We are going to have some voting for awards for the end of the season. I'm not sure when Burnout is going to start that. Probably it's going to be in the Discord server and on Twitter both. definitely vote for the coolest robot in each weight class. Vote for the vote for your favorite robot in each weight class, whether or not it's the coolest. I think we'll have most popular and coolest robot awards that you can vote on. So I think that is going to wrap up the Robot Rampage League's first season. Look out for highlights and awards next week. Thank you, everybody, for making this season so freaking successful. I did not think that this was going to be this popular. Especially a massive thank you to all of you who have contributed super chats. That money is literally paying to keep the lights on and keep my internet running, because I am currently unemployed still. So you are literally making the league happen with your super chats, and I very much appreciate that. A massive thank you to everybody who still supports me on Patreon. I know I haven't been posting a whole lot on Patreon. I will be getting back to that soon. You guys are also keeping the lights on and keeping the league going. So massive thank you to everybody for being here and for making this so great. I will see you guys next week for not a stream, for regular videos, and we will get back to weekly streaming this summer for Season 2 of the Robot Rampage League. Thank you everybody so much. Please take care, and we will see you then.